In this video, I'm going to give you 6 alternative Irish language names for US states. These names will acknowledge and respect the local history and geography of the areas. And if you have any thoughts on names that you think are appropriate for US states, alternative names in Irish that is, please let me know in the comment section below. So let's start off with the state of Alabama. So Alabama gets its name from the Choctaw Indians, and it's said to mean vegetation gatherers or bush clearers, and it's said to come from the Native Americans' tendency to clear the dense bush to make way for agricultural practices. So I was thinking about this, and it reminded me of the name of a village in County Carlow called Muine. So that means, Muine means thicket or bush, and Beag means small. So it means the small thicket or the small area of bush. So I thought I would incorporate that into Alabama and go for perhaps one of two names, Muine Mór or Muine Lahan. So Muine Mór means big thicket or big bush, and Muine Lahan means wide or vast thicket or bush, and I think the last one is better. Muine Lahan as an alternative Irish language name for Alabama. Muine Lahan, the dense or the vast thicket. Next we have Arizona. So Arizona is said to come from Spanish, and it means small water source or a small well. So the Irish for well is tober. So I thought it would be nice to incorporate that into my alternative name for Arizona. And I came up with this one here, Tober Beag, which means the small well or the small water source. Tober Beag. And I think that name continues to draw on the local history and the local landscape. Tober Beag, the small well or the small water source. Let's move on then to Colorado. So Colorado comes from Spanish, and it means red, and it's said to reflect the Red River and the red land that was noticed at the time settlers arrived. So I thought it would be very important to get the word Rua into this new name for Colorado. So I was thinking of Glean Rua, for example. So Glean means glen or valley, and Rua is red, so it would be like the Red Glen or the Red Valley. That was one option. And then I thought about Fearholiv Rua. So Fearholiv means prairie, and Rua again is red, or even just Fearholiv on its own. So that would be red prairie. But I settled on this one here, and I thought this was really suitable, on Owen Rua. On Owen Rua. So that means the Red River, and I'd probably just shorten it to Owen Rua. So Owen is river and Rua is red. And I think that's a really suitable name for Colorado that reflects the history and the geography. Owen Rua, the Red River, another alternative name for Colorado. Next we have Kentucky. So this comes from one of the old Indian languages, and it's said to mean land of tomorrow. Land of tomorrow. So I was thinking about Inishfoil as a potential name for this. Inishfoil means island of destiny. Inishfoil. But then I was also thinking about some other names like these. Talamh Foil came into my head. Talamh Foil. That means ground of destiny or land of destiny. But the one I settled on was this one here. Clún Foil. That means the meadow of destiny. So Clún is meadow and Foil is destiny. And I think, having reflected on the history of the name, this is an appropriate Irish language name for Kentucky. Clún Foil, the meadow of destiny. Let's move on then to Indiana. So this basically means the land of the Indians. And I thought a good name for this would be to bring Tír, which means country, and Dúchais, which means native. And if we bring them together, we'll get this word here, Tír Dúchais, native land. Tír Dúchais. I was considering Dúchasach as well, which means natives or native, but I think Tír Dúchais is very appropriate for Indiana. It just means native land or native country in homage to the Native Americans who were the first and original settlers there anyway. Next we have Michigan. So Michigan gets its name from the huge lake to the north called Lake Michigan. So I thought Loch Moor could be a good name for that. So Loch Moor brings two words together, Loch, which means lake, and Moor, which means big or large. I was also considering this one here, Loch an Huig. Loch an Huig. So that means the lake of the north, or the northern lake. But I think keeping it simple here and going with Loch Moor is probably the best way to describe Michigan, as it reflects the local geography that's so important to the state. Loch Moor, an alternative name for Michigan, the large lake. So let's go down through those names now again, just to summarise. Alabama, Muine Leathan, the vast thicket. Arizona, Tober Biog, the small well or the small water source. Colorado, Owen Rua, the Red River. Kentucky, Clune Foyle, the meadow of destiny. Indiana, Tirchucas, native land. And Michigan, Loch Moor, the large lake. Remember, if you think you have some really good Irish language names for other states or even other countries, please let me know in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and I'll be back very soon. Slán go fóill.